is a drawing of the layout of the buildings. I've been asked quite a lot of questions in the comments about the layout, and people are getting a little bit confused because there's quite a few buildings. So I thought I'd just film this again. I have filmed this once before. I think it was in episode 12. As we can see, Tanny's ripped out pipework, bits of the cabinet. Yeah. I have to keep making all this mess before we can make it better. Tanny is demolishing things. He's demolished the cupboard in this old bathroom, and he's taken down these doors. Now we will be reusing these panel doors.
Door here. Over there. Yes, look in here. Minor nails. Yes. Hello again.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, that's fine.
And look at this wallpaper. I have seen this before, but not quite so clearly. I'm going to definitely save a piece of that. I need to get a piece of this off tone without spoiling it. Look at those. Pictures of the kingfisher. That's beautiful. Anyway, so I'll be saving a piece of that, but it's given, you can see from seeing there how big the cupboard was. So this is the extra floor space that it's giving us. The ballon is going to be moved. Well, actually, we're having a new one. But yeah, the ballon's still yet to be taken out because we're still using it for the moment for hot water for the kitchen downstairs. But wow, that is where the old-fashioned enamelled bath was with the feet. That is now in the barn. We're going to reuse that somewhere. And then Tony's taken down the mirror and the tiles and the basin that was on that wall there. And this is the room with the mirror, which is staying and will be done up. But yeah, there's a lot of progress in here, a lot of mess. Oh, we can see where the walls have been channelled. We're having wall lights on either side of this mirror. So luckily he's channelled the walls out for that. Now when Tony was taking everything out of the bathroom, he found some treasures. And he actually found these propping up one of the bath legs. They were obviously used to level the bath when it was put in. And these are old French coins. This one says 5 francs. I think the smallest one is a 1 franc. Let's see if we can... I can't necessarily read these. No, I'm not sure what that one is. Anyway, these are very, very light. They're like, I think they're aluminium, which is quite strange. And our French electrician tells us that these are old francs. Apparently, I remember there being francs, but these are old francs. So there was different francs beforehand. So it's a bit like us with our, in the UK, we had old pennies and new pennies. And these are old francs. And the latest date on any of these is 1955. So the bathroom was put in after 1955, or that particular one, that particular bath was at least levelled up in 1955, which I think is probably around about the same time as the floor was done. So it probably had a revamp, and it's probably been there 45, that would be about 65, 66 years that's been there, and it will be reused again, that bath. But yeah, that was an interesting find. They're not worth anything much, but really interesting to find. So that's going to go with my keepsakes. At the same time, there was another interesting find that we hadn't seen before in the top of the cupboard right at the back. Some newspapers. And this is Le Berry. Le Berry is the region, Centre France. Le Berry region is where we are. Le Berry Républicain. And I've got a feeling that this is still going. I think it's in a slightly smaller format now. I think this is the one that I see in the supermarket regularly and buy occasionally and try to translate. This is dated the 7th of April 1987, so it's not particularly old. But, well, it's still 34 years nearly. And it's actually in colour, which I find quite unusual. Anyway, so there's that one. And there's this one. Oh, which is this one I think is a bit older. A Bathing Beauty. Look at that. This is La France. La France Rennes. No, that's not the title of the newspaper. That's quite a raunchy picture on the front page there. And we are looking at September 1949. This is France Dimanche, so it's France on Sunday. 1949, wow. September 1949. Not long after the war. So I think this is some French movie star featuring on the front page. It must have been quite raunchy for 1949. Same as the Bathing Beauty on the reverse here. Oh, Miss Europe, Miss Denmark was chosen. So she must have been Miss Denmark in 1949 and she was chosen to represent Europe. Wow, so that's really interesting. And the other thing is this sack. A sack tied up with what looks like a shoelace. Now, we haven't opened this, but it feels like something like coffee bean. I think it's probably coffee beans. It's quite heavy. Looks like Dr. Madame Topar. Now, Topar family are the family that we bought this house off. Madame Topar was in her 90s. I don't know if this is Madame Topar or Madame Topar's mother, but this was addressed to Madame Topar at Chateau de Menetou, Salon. Can't read that very clearly, but I have had a look. Menetou Salon, which is a very famous wine region. It's also where we go to a beautiful Brocantes. It's about an hour away from here. Chateau de Menetou Salon in Cher. And on here it says Colis Gratuit. Well, I know gratuit means French. It says cafe. And juillet, which is July, I believe. So I'm not quite sure what that's about. It looks like someone has sent Madame Topar of the Chateau de Menetou Salon a big bag of coffee beans. And she's never used them. And I don't think we're going to use them. But how interesting is that? So now, there's obviously a connection between the family that lived here and the Chateau de Menetou Salon. I would think that because she's a madame, she's a Mrs., I would think this is probably the mother of the lady we bought the house off. There's obviously no date yearly, apart from July. There's no date on it. It could be something that in France they have this thing where, especially at Christmas time, they do almost like a food parcel, a special parcel for the older residents, and coffee is usually one of the things that they're given. Local bottle of wine, local coffee, well, not local coffee, but they're given a local bottle of wine and other local produce, and then they're usually given some coffee and a few other things for like a Christmas parcel. So this might well be one of those. I can't really make out what the rest of it says. It's got sort of numbers, and so yeah, I think this may be Bondo. I'm not sure. But how interesting is that? It's like a cotton sack It's obviously been in those cupboards for a long, long time. Actually, a name scribbled. I just noticed there's a name scribbled on the top of that, but I can't read it. Renovate. I'm not sure, but it's in pencil. But it's somebody's name on it. Maybe it's been delivered to somebody. Cornidre. No, I can't read it. But yeah, some extra fascinating finds just from destroying the old bathroom and the cupboards. I'm going to see if I can find a picture of this Chateau de Menetou Salon. Chateau de Menetou Salon. Now, when I filmed this bag, when we found it the other day, I thought, why didn't I open it? So I have opened it to see, and this is the contents. So yes, little coffee beans. Right, I've tied it back up now, so we don't lose any of it. But I also thought I didn't turn it over. So now I have turned it over. And what did I find on the back? I found this, which is a postage stamp. Anyway, it says Cameroon, and it looks like a date stamp, although I can't actually read that. If any of you can read that, then please tell me. And it also has one, it's very, very faint, but it looks like there's one actually on the sack, like a little stamp. But yeah, so if anyone can date this stamp from Cameroon, it also says, upside down, it also says Familio something Fuertes, and then again Cameroon. So some of it's missing. It's obviously had another part of the label or the postage thing on the back. But yeah, how interesting is that? So if anyone can help us, give us an idea what date it was, would be interesting. Or if anybody can actually read this postmark. I have a fairy. Well, I think it's a fairy. Living in my tree, look at this.
What is it, Jane?
It's like a fluorescent green fly moth thing. Look. It was hovering a minute ago, now it's landed.
You want to step?
It's a moth.
You want to step?
Look. It's beautiful colour. Look.
Oh yeah.
The way it was fluttering around, it did look a little bit like a fairy, but it is actually, I think it's a moth. I hope they don't bite because it's on my arm. But it's like a fluorescent green colour. It's an amazing colour. See if I can get it in the light. Wow! There it goes. It sort of hovers. I can't catch it. Can you see that? It's gone too fast now. Oh.
30. 1529, I think it is. Or should I just stick a piece in there? The long pieces that I've got. Piece there. Unfortunately, the wall's all over the place, as you can see.
Well, that's why it's nice to have the bendy coving, actually.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably paint it all the same colour so that it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. But it's an old house, it's going to be bendy.
That's the way forward.
Everything's going to be wonky. Oh, this is Tony's putting up the coving in this room. It was the old bathroom. Soon to be bedroom. So you filled lots of holes in.
Yes.
The plasterer's going to come and fill that one there, isn't he?
Yes.
And then you're going to plasterboard the rest of this wall once this balloon is moved out of the way. This balloon hot water heater thing. Yeah, it covers up holes around the edge of the ceiling. It just tidies it up and makes it look more finished, doesn't it? More polished. Whereas on that side, Tony's foamed the holes because it's got like it's like wood shavings, isn't it, inside the wall? I suppose it's sort of a form of insulation, early insulation. What was falling out of the cracks up here?
There's hundreds of years of dust and rubbish.
Right, okay. Anyway, we didn't really want it all collecting behind the coving, so he's foamed it up, ready to put the coving over the top. Oh, squeaking! Tony, you don't like squeaking. That's a bit squeaky, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh. Oh, it's made my hair stand up on the back of my neck. Right, don't forget to drink your tea.
Yes.
But yes, I'll have to have a word with Manu. Manu is the electrician. And he's put my wall light in the wrong place.
You reckon what? That one's lower than that one?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like, doesn't it?
Is it just because the ceiling's out, or I'm sort of weighing it up against the mirror, as most people would, because the bed's going to be here. So you would lie in bed, well I would, and look at that, and to me it doesn't look level.
Well, the floor's out.
No, has he measured it off of the floor?
I don't know.
He needs to measure it off of the mirror.
Floor is...
Now, what adjustment will there be on the actual light fitting?
No.
See, where the wire will come out of the wall here somewhere, won't it?
Yes.
So, can it stick out of the wall at the bottom or the top, or has it got to be centre?
No, I don't think so.
So there might be a little bit of play.
There might be.
If it's 10 mil,
Oh, there's 10 mil.
we might have to have the wire at the bottom of one of these things and the top of the other to make it match.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yes. That's not 45 neither.
Oh dear. Is that not any good then, that piece?
Well, I don't know what
It's
the angle
obviously
is.
all the angles on the walls are out. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So it's very angular stuff, coving, isn't it? The angles have to be correct so that it meets up in all directions. And then we have a weird angle on the window there. So is it going right into the edge of the window?
It's butting up against the window.
Oh, okay. So yeah, there's a little bit of an awkward angle, isn't it?
Yes, just a bit. And you got a curve here.
Well, that's another reason why it's good that we've got bendy. Because we do have a slight curve towards that. I don't know why, but it just curves in towards the window there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's obviously always been like that. Anyway, it will look lovely, Tony. Yeah, it would do. I'll just finish it off nicely. And save us an awful lot of filling and sanding, and that probably wouldn't look great anyway. So we can fill this a lot easier and paint it. It's lovely and sunny out there again. Look at that blue sky. It's beautiful. It's a little bit cooler though, isn't it? You never talk to me when I've got the camera on. Well, I'm currently in the Gite kitchen and I haven't done any cooking for a little while, but we've been given a box of free vegetables from our friend's work, and one of which is pumpkin. So I'm currently peeling it and chopping it up. And I'm going to make spicy pumpkin soup. Firstly, I've scooped out some of the seeds And as you can see, I've put them on a piece of kitchen roll to dry, because I shall use those to plant some more plants once they've dried out, because this is a reasonable sized pumpkin. It's got a similar consistency to a butternut squash, so I think I'd like to try and grow some of those. So firstly, I've got some free seeds. I could also have roasted some pumpkin seeds, so that's another option. I prefer to grow them for the time being. But what I shall do is leave that somewhere on a sunny window ledge so that it dries off. I shall write on the piece of paper what they are. And then hopefully later in the year I'll plant a few. Right, so that's those for the time being. Now, in the meantime, I am chopping up into small chunks in a roasting tin the pumpkin, because I'm going to turn it into a spicy pumpkin soup, but roasting it gives it a little bit of extra flavour. So I'm going to put a little olive oil and probably grind some pepper on that and roast it in the oven. So I'm going to carry on peeling the pumpkin and chopping it into chunks. Firstly, a tip. I've struggled with peeling this because the peeler will peel the top bit, but not the interior bit. So I've discovered that if I cut down the lines of each piece of the pumpkin, makes it easier for me to peel. So a little tip there. I'm not wasting so much. Anyway, I'm going to carry on cutting this up, peeling and chopping it. Right. As you can see now, I finished chopping up the pumpkin. Now that was what I would call sort of a medium-sized pumpkin, or a fairly large butternut squash. Very similar texture. And with that, I'm now going to put 2 onions. I've started chopping those up. I've left the stalk on the end of the onion, and then I'm cutting it into little wedges. Just so that it all cooks around the same time. And also some garlic. We love garlic, so I'm putting quite a lot, but it's up to you how much you want to put in. And these are very big garlic cloves, but I will put those in whole. They will soften up because this is all going to be put in the food processor once it's all cooked. Okay, so I'm going to carry on chopping up the onion wedges. Right, all the vegetables now have been prepared. And you'll notice that I've added some more of this. This is a white turnip, which was also in the food box. Oh. This is a white turnip, which I've also chopped up to add in the mix. That's the beauty of something like this soup, is that if you have the odd limp carrot or something that really needs using up in the bottom of the fridge, you can add it in. Any type of root vegetables can be added to the mix. So I've now got onions and garlic for flavouring, obviously pumpkin, and a little bit of the white turnip. But if you've got spare carrots or maybe a few parsnips, you can chop them up and put them in, use them up. Now what I'm going to do now is sprinkle this with a little olive oil. I'm not going to go too mad because I'm trying to keep the calories down slightly. Though obviously olive oil is a good oil and you do need a little bit of oil. So that's an extra virgin olive oil for the flavour. And I've got a variety of seasonings here, which I'll show you in a moment. And also to finish off, a couple of other ingredients. So once these are all roasted and softened up, I will then be processing a tin of tomatoes, liquidising those. And I will also be using some vegetable stock, which I quite like this vegetable bouillon. So into my mix you can use whichever selection you want of flavourings. I'm going to add some Worcester sauce, so a dash of that, or several dashes. I like to make this quite spicy, so I'm going to add some cayenne pepper, good shaking of that. Also, I'm going to season it with my trusted Mediterranean flour salt, which is a mixture of salt and herbs. I'm going to put some mustard seeds in because I'm trying to make it a little bit spicy. I'm also going to add some black pepper. I like quite a lot of black pepper because it does bring out the flavours. Right, we've done the salt, and I'm also going to use some paprika. Again, I'm going to use probably a couple of teaspoons of paprika. It gives it a really nice flavour and an extra bit of colour. And then for extra spiciness, I'm going to add some chilli flakes. If I had some fresh chilies, I would use those, but at the moment I don't, so I'm using my store cupboard ingredients. So obviously the hot things you can use to your own taste. If you're not keen on spices, then you can just put some herbs in it or something to flavour it. The only other ingredients that you might want to add, I will always add a good squeeze of lemon juice at the end and some sugar, probably about half a teaspoonful of sugar. But that's not until we've roasted the vegetables and pureed them. Okay, I've got the oven on a medium heat. We don't want to burn it before they're cooked through, we just want to soften it and add a little bit of colour, a little bit of flavour. So I'm going to pop those in the oven. I think that's probably going to be about half an hour, maybe slightly longer. And then we'll come back and liquidise it. I'm going to get the pumpkin out of the oven and see if it's soft enough. Okay, let's test it and see. Oh yeah, it's fairly soft. We're going to give it a quick mix up and give it a few more minutes. But it smells really good. Now, I think it needs about another 5 minutes. Just so that it's very soft, because I'm going to put it in the liquidizer. It's going to be a creamy soup. Although you can have it any way you like. You can make it more lumpy if you want. Right, I'm going to pop that back in the oven for another 5 minutes. Right, I've just checked my pumpkin and it needs a few more minutes just to finish softening up. It smells really good. In the meantime, I've put a pint of water on to boil and I've added some powdered vegetable stock into that. You can use chicken stock if you prefer. Obviously that makes it not veggie. And into that I am now going to blitz a can of tomatoes. Right, so I have liquidised a can of tomatoes. Add that into the veggie stock. I'm going to bring that to a simmer. And once the veggies are ready, I'll show you the next step. So as you can see, I've taken my cooked pumpkin out of the oven. My vegetable stock along with my blitzed tomatoes has come to the boil. I'll turn that down. Now I'm going to blitz the pumpkin and the onion and the garlic mixture, and I'm going to add it into the vegetable tomato stock. I won't film that bit because it's a bit noisy. So as you can see, I've blitzed it to a pulp, and I'm just going to add that into the vegetable stock mixture, and then I'm going to carry on and blitz the rest. I only have a small processor with me at the moment. Obviously if you've got a bigger one you can put the whole lot in one go. Add a little of the liquid if you need to. Well, I'll carry on blitzing it and I'll show you once it's finished. We're going to adjust the seasoning then. So I have blended all the cooked pumpkin, onion, garlic mixture. I've just added a touch more water into the processor just so that we don't waste any of this goodness in the pulp. And you can adjust it slightly with the liquids depending on how thick you like your soup. So all that's left to do now is to taste it and adjust the seasonings to your taste. So before we start, I'm going to add a good squeeze of lemon. A good squeeze of lemon helps to bring out the tomato and spicy flavours. I think this is at least a tablespoon, perhaps a little bit more. Mix that in. I'm going to bring it back to a simmer. And I'm also going to add a half a teaspoon of sugar. You can add a little bit more later if that's what you like. But this is just normal granulated sugar. So I'm going to add half of a small teaspoon. That also helps to bring out the tomatoey spicy flavours. I'm going to let that cook in for a moment, then taste it, and then see if it wants a little bit more salt, or maybe some more pepper, or even some more chilies. Obviously you can do this to your own taste. Right, I've just tasted it and I definitely need a little bit more seasoning. So I'm also going to add a good squeeze of tomato puree. You could add an extra can of tomatoes, but I don't have another can, so I'm going to have a good squeeze of tomato puree, which will achieve the same thing. So I think a good rounded tablespoon of tomato puree. It's not super spicy at the moment, and I do like it spicy, so I'm going to add a little bit more cayenne pepper to it, or some chili flakes. I think a few chili flakes. Bear in mind, we are not going to eat this until tomorrow, and the flavours will develop slightly. So if you put too much pepper in it, it will taste even more peppery the following day. Same with the chili flakes. So I'm doing a little tiny touch more. Now you can add extra stock if you think that the flavour needs bumping up a little bit. You can add extra salt and pepper, obviously. It's entirely up to you. I think I'm even going to add an extra dash of Worcester sauce just to pep it up a little bit. A few dashes. going to sample that again, see if it needs any more adjustment. Tastes really good. It's very creamy, slightly spicy. For my taste, a little touch more salt and possibly a touch more sugar. But there you have it. I'll just show you the consistency, as we're not going to dish it up right now. This is quite... It's quite a thick but creamy soup. If you really wanted to pep this up, you could add a little swirl of cream on the top as you serve it, or you could add some cream into the mix as you cook it. That's entirely up to you. But at the moment, this is extremely low calorie, extremely good for you. There's lots of vitamins in from all the veggies, and extremely tasty. And it was very, very cheap, especially for me, because the main ingredient, the pumpkin, was free. So I've used a couple of onions, some garlic cloves, a tin of tomatoes, and a few herbs and spices and things to make this. So it's a very cheap meal for us. Anyway, hope you enjoy, hope you'll have a go, and I'll speak to you soon. Well, I've come down to the mill because Deb's doing a changeover, and she's pointing something out to me on the lake. I'm going to see if I can sneak up on it. It's been sunning itself apparently. Can you see on that wooden platform there by the tree? It's a big creature. Apparently there's two of them. One of them's been swimming about. These are quite common in France. I'm going to try and zoom in first in case he disappears. Can you see what he is? I think he's called a quirky. They're like a beaver type animal, and there's lots of them that live on rivers and lakes in France. There's this little fella. So I'm going to try and get a wee bit closer, see if I can get a better picture, and see if we can see where the other one's gone. I've never been out here before, not in this pit, because the garden actually goes over to this middle bit. Right, let's go up these little steps. Oh, he hasn't gone yet. He hasn't taken much notice of me yet. Right, I'm going to go up the steps and hope I don't startle him. Oh! I don't think he's too bothered about me. I think he thinks because he's on the water, I'm not going to be able to get to him. So he's probably right. I'm not sure if they have any predators. I did actually just see quite a big eagle flying about as I came down the road. So I suppose they could be. He's really brave, isn't he? Oh, I've scared him now. Anyway, you can get a little bit of a better view of him. He's got quite a big tail. He's got big whiskers. Yeah, I made him jump just a little bit. I won't move for the minute. Perhaps I'll back off a little bit. Oh yeah, smashing to things to see. I've not seen one of these before. It's so peaceful out here today. Can you hear all the birds cheeping? It's lovely. Oh, I can see the ducks on the other side swimming about. Yeah, it's so lovely and peaceful. I'm not surprised he wants to sit out here. I would if we weren't going shopping. Where's your friend? Can't see any signs of the other one, but Deb said she's seen him. No, can't see any sign. Just this one. Yeah, he's watching me now. Right, he's getting ready to go in that water. He doesn't want to go in the water, does he? Or she? Quite big. If I sneak a bit closer, I think probably we'll go in the water. Let's have a look, shall we? Shall I be mean? Disturb him. He's gone right to the end, as far away as he can get. Now, I can't get out there. He's still not moving. I'm nearly in the water here, look. Water's right in front of me. Yeah. Oh, here he goes. No, he still doesn't want to go in the water. Go on, mate. Go on, show us your swimming technique. Go on. Oh. No, he doesn't want to. Oh, here he goes. Oh. Look how waterproof his coat is. Ah, so if the other one was swimming, I think I'd notice him, but can't see anything. Oh, let's go away and leave him alone. He'll probably come back. But yeah, I suppose they think, oh, this is a lovely home, isn't it? I presume they're a mating pair as they go around in twos. Oh yeah, what an interesting thing to see. Oh, he's swimming about all over the place now. He hasn't gone to meet up with the other one, he just seems to be having a look round. I think I'll step back and see if he wants to come back. But yeah, how lovely is this? Yes, I've never been this side of the mill before. Beautiful. And I'm told there's some fairly big fish in here. Well, again, I've never seen them. How calm is that? Oh, I can't see the koi poo now. Where's he gone? Oh! I can. He's actually gone onto the duck island over there. Perhaps that's where the other one is. I'm going to try and zoom in, but it's a long way away. A duck island with a little house. No, I think it's too far away to get a good view, but I think that's where he's gone. Yeah. Well, that's as close as it can get, but yeah, he's definitely over there, and I think the other one's probably over there as well. Right, Tony's just come to fetch me and said, do I want to see something quite amazing? Well, of course I do. I said, should I bring my camera? And he said, yes, he thinks so. Don't know what it is. And also, there's a rainwater pipe from the adjoining house at the back.
But what's the interesting thing?
Right.
Is this.
Oh, how did you get in there?
I kicked it.
Ah, right. Oh, you're joking.
No.
But this is not our house.
So this is our access.
This is joint access. This is shared, Tone.